You're dismissed as a wife now, so let's just get a divorce. Oh, and it's obvious that my retirement money will only belong to me, alright?
Just when I was wondering what my husband, Max, was going to say, he says some outrageous things like this.
It's all your fault. You're the one who was slacking off, even when you're the wife, and skipping chores, not listening and obeying to me.
Yes, you're right. So then, let's get the divorce papers ready and get divorced.
What?
My name is Charlotte, and I am a 68-year-old housewife. I have been together with my husband, Max, who is 3 years younger than me, and we have been married for 45 years now. But here we are, on the verge of a divorce. Well, I think that neither of us apparently considers it as a crisis, and maybe we both thought that this was coming. Or at least I thought so. My husband and I met at work. My husband had just graduated from high school when he joined the company where I was working at. I had already worked there for 3 years before Max began working at the company, so I was assigned to mentor him as a trainer. My husband was very handsome and he had looks which I had preferred in men. He was younger than me and he also had a very cute side to him which stimulated my maternal instincts. So then, as I began training him, we naturally began going out, and after about 2 years, we found out that I was pregnant. And that led to us getting married. Then, our first daughter, Jane, was born, and we became parents. We were quite young as parents, 20 and 23 years old, but I became a stay-at-home mom and mainly focused on raising our daughter while Max worked. My husband loved Jane and also took care of her, saying,
For her, I will do my best at work.
Looking back, those were probably the happiest times for me. My eldest daughter grew up quickly, and when she was 4 years old, my son, Patrick, was born. I was able to have a girl and a boy as our kids, so as a family, we had a lot of fun. My daughter was into drawing and reading books, and my son was into baseball and other sports. We couldn't pay for their expensive lessons like piano, but I did buy Jane new books and had Patrick get into the local youth baseball team. I was so busy with the kids' events every day that it didn't take long for my kids to grow up to be adults. As a housewife, I think that I did a great job that I even would like to pat myself on the back for. I did all the housework, packed lunches for the kids and Max, and prepared dinner for them. My daughter and son were both involved in after-school extracurricular activities, so I drove them when they needed a ride. Unlike me, my husband did not really do anything around the house, although he worked and earned enough to provide for us family. I don't think he even took out the garbage once. I am sure that he would not have understood how to do it if he was suddenly asked to sort or gather the garbage or something like that. But at least he wasn't arrogant about not doing any house chores, so I think that was another reason why we didn't fight much about him not doing anything around the house. Then, after 22 years of our marriage, Jane finally graduated from college and got a job. Then 4 years later, Patrick had also graduated from college and got a job. I felt quite a sense of accomplishment when I was able to send my 2 kids out into the society. And by then, I was still 49 years old. My husband was 46 years old and he was still working hard. With the feeling of enjoying life from now on, I began to focus on my hobbies as well, went on trips, and did many other things. Max and I started to spend time together more as a couple for the first time in a long time, and I felt that our second life had begun. I think we both enjoyed our time together as a couple, and we were really happy together. But that all changed when we both passed the age of 60. I think it all started with a very petty thing.
You're not a good cook, are you?
Huh? What are you saying all of a sudden, honey?
Because, you always cook the same dishes and there's never much variation to your meals.
And you're telling me that now? You've been eating whatever I cook for you for a long time now without complaining. And I've been trying to make different dishes as possible with your favorite meals that you like.
But still, why don't you have any other different recipes? I mean, how long have you been a housewife anyways?
Then, let me say this. Have you ever even cooked once in your life? I cooked every day while taking care of the kids. You could at least thank me for that if you're going to complain now.
What the hell? Don't get mad at me like that. I was only just saying my opinion and trying to have a normal conversation with you.
Well, I'm not mad, you know. There was something that bothered me, so I just only said that.
Well, practically, you are angry at me because you have that certain tone. Well, that's enough. Let's not talk about this anymore.
You were the one who brought this up on your own. And since then, my husband began to complain about how I did the house chores as well.
I feel like you didn't wipe enough here. I mean, the floors are not shiny at all.
Well, we've lived here for decades now, so I guess it's no wonder that it's not shiny enough.
You shouldn't be so negative about everything like that. That's how you lose flexibility to things when you age.
What on earth is he saying? Like this, my husband has been blowing up at me a lot lately. Why does he keep taking his anger out on me about house chores that he didn't seem to care about all these years and never helps around with? And if it bothers Max so much, then he should just do it himself. But it seems like he doesn't want to do it at all. I felt like a fool for taking the house chores seriously, so I decided to do the cooking and other chores in a roundabout way. My husband is about to even retire and will be at home for a long time after that, so I thought it would be better for him to see me not take it that much serious about house chores and cooking. But this seemed to irritate my husband even more.
Hey, isn't the dinner tonight too simple?
You think so? But thinking about our age, I think we should get used to this kind of simple dish.
What? You've got to be kidding me. Are you going to make me eat this kind of food all the time when I retire soon?
I realized that I always cooked fancy dishes and complicated meals for you. I thought I'd cut down on some ingredients where I could.
No, you better not do that. You just want to slack off, don't you?
Why was Max always so sensitive to changes and precise on some things like this?
If you keep on like this, then you are not qualified as a wife. You better remake the dinner.
Well, that's not possible. It's not like I bought a lot of ingredients for tonight either.
Then just go buy more ingredients at the shop now.
Hey, wait a minute now. What is going on with you recently? Why do you complain so much about what I do around the house recently?
Well, I think that I've been too easy on you this whole time. So, I'm trying to be strict to you.
Excuse me? You don't make any sense at all. I really had a hard time understanding what was going on here. No way, is Max having menopause? It's true that he got more angrier and got much more moody since he turned 60. So I talked to Jane and Patrick about it, whom I haven't seen them for a while. My daughter is already 44 and my son is 40, and they are both married with kids now. Both of them are married to their partner whose parents are much more older than me, who were in their 70s. My father-in-law is 68, but it doesn't seem like he's going through anything like what Dad is. But, well, people show different types of symptoms at different ages, so I can't really assume anything.
But even if Dad didn't do much house chores, it's not like he wasn't a bad, mean dad. I still remember him playing catch with me. And yeah, that's about it.
Haha, you don't remember much about Dad at all when you were still little. Mom did all the house chores and mainly raised us after all.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I have kids of my own, I've realized how much I am grateful for Mom again.
Oh, thank you both.
Oh, that's right. We were on the topic of Dad. Maybe he's having an affair or something? I'm not really sure, but...
Excuse me? Hey, don't say anything random like that when you don't even have proof. Dad is 64 years old, you know? There's no way he's having an affair.
Well, yeah, but there could be a possibility.
Don't make Mom anxious like that.
I'm sorry. Well, it's just my personal random opinion, so don't worry about it, okay, Mom? Come visit me and my family anytime if you want to get your mind off of things. I'm sure my son will be happy to see his grandma.
Oh, come visit us too. The kids will love it. Thanks, you two. I was happy to see my children growing up so strong. I was also deeply moved by the fact that they are becoming parents. And I was also a little concerned about what my son had said to me. To think about it, even though Max was retiring soon, he does come home late frequently nowadays. Could it be? Just to be sure, I requested the investigation agency to investigate about Max. And the results shocked me so much. Max was having an affair with a 50-year-old woman. I trusted Max to not have an affair behind my back, but in the end, he did. I was too stunned and couldn't say anything. And once I thought about Max cheating on me with another woman, I was so disgusted at Max all at once. How could he do this to me? When I reported what I had found out to Jane and Patrick, they were both immensely upset. After a while, Patrick said,
"Even though I said it, I wasn't really thinking that he was doing it actually."
And they seemed really surprised. At that point, I had already made up my mind to get a divorce, so I decided to look for a place to live for the time being. Even if I confronted Max with the divorce papers right now, I would be in trouble if I didn't have a place to live. And, as one would expect at my age, finding a room was quite difficult. Many real estate agencies are reluctant to rent rooms to elderly people, which is why it took me a long time to find a room. But finally, I managed to sign a contract and secure a new place to live on my own. And it was right around the time my husband was about to retire from the company. But the day after Max retired, I was called into the living room by him. "It seems like you came home pretty late yesterday."
"Well, of course. I was having a drink to celebrate my retirement."
"Oh, with who?"
"The colleagues from the company, of course."
"No, it was most likely with your mistress, huh? What did you want to talk to me about anyways?"
"Well, sit down."
When I sat down, my husband grinned and began to say something outrageous.
"You're dismissed as a wife now, so let's just get a divorce. Oh, and it's obvious that my retirement money will only belong to me, all right?"
Just when I was wondering what my husband Max was going to say, he'd say some outrageous things like this.
"It's all your fault. You're the one who was slacking off even when you're the wife and skipping chores, not listening and obeying me."
Yes, you're right. So then, let's get the divorce papers ready and get divorced.
"What?"
What? We are getting a divorce, right?
"Well, yeah, but I mean, you're not surprised? It's divorce, you know?"
Well, do you want a divorce? Or do you not want a divorce? Which is it?
I mean, I do want a divorce, but my retirement money is all mine, you know that, right?
So you mean there will be no property division, right? That's fine with me. My husband looked so confused, as if he didn't expect me to accept his suggestion so easily.
"Well then, here, the divorce papers."
I took the divorce papers from my husband and filled out my portion. "Okay, well, I'll submit this then." And saying that, I started to pack up my stuff.
What? You're gonna leave today? Do you even have any place to stay?
We're getting a divorce and yet you're already worried about that?
No, it's not that I'm worried, it's just that I thought everything was going too fast.
I ignored what my husband has said and concentrated on packing my bags. I finished packing, so I took my suitcase and spoke to my husband, who looked really nervous in the living room. Okay, well, I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, by the way, here, these are the photos that proves that you're having an affair. So, I'll file a claim for alimony through my lawyer later on, okay?
What?
When I put the photos on the table and said that, my husband's face turned completely pale. Well then, goodbye. My husband froze on the spot, as if he was at a loss for words. And I just ignored him and left the house. Then, I moved into the new place. I kept on receiving several incoming calls from my husband, but I ignored all of them. And through my lawyer, I filed a claim for alimony against my husband and his mistress. My husband probably planned to leave me the moment he retired the company and remarry his mistress. So which is probably why he had been complaining to me little by little for several years, so that I would gradually think that I needed to divorce him. I guess he really had no idea that his affair had been exposed. According to my lawyer, Max was very upset that he was being charged alimony. And the reason I decided not to share my property with my husband was because I was also earning some money. In fact, my parents were florists and also ran a class about flower arrangements. I was also taught about flowers and the flower arrangements by my mother since I was a child. And that is why I taught at one of my parents' class after I became a housewife. Max probably only thought that I was just helping out around my parents' house, but in addition to my work as an instructor, I was occasionally asked to do other jobs such as arranging flowers for hotels and events, so I was earning pretty well. While I was raising the kids, I used the money to pay for their school fees, and after I finished raising the kids, I used the money to fund my retirement. So, I had a considerable amount of savings. On the contrary, my ex-husband, to be honest, did not get promoted at all, so his retirement benefit was not that much compared to mine. If it was just my husband, he might be able to manage to live in retirement on his own, but if he remarried, then he and his wife would have to cut their living expenses. Plus, Max would have to pay alimony out of his own money, which would make his life even more difficult. Later on, I found out from my son, but Max's mistress said, "That's not what you told me. You said I didn't have to pay alimony and I could live off your retirement money." And in the end, Max got dumped. So, my ex-husband became single and even asked Patrick and Jane to move in with him, but they both said, "Don't you dare come to me. You were the one who betrayed Mom." And they both turned him away and cut him off. So now, like that, my ex-husband was completely alone. Well, Max got what he deserves. Meanwhile, I am living in my new place, enjoying the florist business along with my hobbies. I live close to Jane's house, so I sometimes go to lunch with her and see my grandkids. Patrick would also bring his kids to see me on his days off, so I am able to live each day to the fullest without feeling lonely at all. I don't know how many more years I will live, but I will make the most of it each and every day. What kind of nerve does a 65-year-old man even have to have an affair and cheat behind his own wife who was with him for more than 40 years? I would hear things like a very rich man with a lot of money would have an affair with a young woman. I just can't believe that Max would betray someone who has been with him for 45 years. But in the end, the kids and his own mistress left him, so I'm glad it all turned out this way for Charlotte. Charlotte was indeed right to leave such a man like Max. I hope Charlotte and her kids continue to get along well with each other and live happily ever after. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.